Okay.
Hey, it's Watchers coming at you with Ivan Tuttle, Sheriff Butler, yours truly, giving you prophetic insights right from the headlines, encouraging you to watch and pray and do. The caption, what's going to happen with Iran? Everyone wants to know, but before we do that, I know, Ivan, you always say ladies first. Lady Shear, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. You just came off,
Fantastic.
yeah, you just came off of a conference, and I will not keep silent. One of your many things you do, and I heard it was fantastic, and that makes me happy. Ivan, you doing good?
Doing great. Having a great
What?
time up here in Maine where it's almost warm.
And I'm
It's going
here
to
in
get,
this lovely living room,
I see
setting
that.
here. Yeah, yeah, and interesting times. Interesting times. They would say about uh, old men will dream dreams, young men will see visions. I think that's right, and I think this old man is seeing dreams and visions. Very interesting dream last night. We may or may not get to, but all that to say is, hey, all eyes are on what's happening with Iran. Have we beat them or have we not? I thought we took out their capabilities, but they seem to be able to close or open the Strait of Hormuz at will. But with all that said, what are some things that you're seeing right now in regards to Iran and on the global stage?
Yeah, well, I really do hope that President Trump steps back in, and I do believe that he will. I think they're playing a game here. I don't think they're serious about negotiations, and I do think that they have outside help. I think that they have other people are connected to them that are helping them behind the scenes, and I believe that will come out. But I do suspect that in the next couple of weeks we're going to see some more movement from Trump, and that these things will come. These things will eventually come to an end. We're still in the middle of this war, unfortunately. And I had a vision of, they do public executions there. We know that, but I did have a vision of, one of the leaders. It has something to do with the leaders. And one of their leaders having being publicly executed. I do know that there's women. How many is there? 9 women that they're going to publicly execute as
At,
well.
at, at least,
We need
Yeah.
to pray for them. And I know that Trump did speak out against that and ask them to not do that. So we definitely need to be praying for that. But I did see something with one of their leaders in a public execution. So there's stuff stirring behind the scenes, and I do believe that there's other global partners behind the scenes working with them. Unfortunately, I don't know about you, Ivan, but that's what I've been getting when I've been praying.
Well, I look at it this way. The only way you're going to be able to deal with them is when they're all dead. Just being blunt,
yeah.
okay? Because they're not truthful. They lie. I look at the Old Testament and how when they went to war, they had to get rid of the demonic, basically. They had to get rid of the evil. And there is a lot of evil there. Now, I'm not one for, harming anybody. I just don't like that. Especially killing, but because they are doing what they're doing and killing innocent people over and over again.
Mm.
I think there's something like, is it 20,000 or 40,000 people so far that they've killed
At
that are
least.
innocent? The innocent ones in their own country.
Mhm.
Well, when that much evil is there, there's only one way to get rid of that evil, and that's to take it out. And I think right now that President Trump is gearing up for something major, much bigger than what they've seen yet. And when he says he's going to do what he's going to do that. He set that up. And the reason why he did this, and the reason why he set it up, and he said, this is what I'm going to go after, your infrastructure and everything. That's not always going after. That's just going to be the outlier, that they're going to see these things, out there. That's the temptation. And then he's going to go in and take them out. There has to be a regime change. They can't do it any other
Right.
way. There's not
Right.
much. Their only regime is the IRG or IRC army, um, or guard or whatever, Iranian Republic Guard Army, IRG. So he's going to have to take them out. He's going to have to take them out. I suspect we'll probably have some people on the ground in there, and they're going to have to do something. I know that there's some Syrians that want to get involved, actually Turkish people that want to get involved in it. Some other people that are coming through Syria to do it. And I just believe that Iran's days are up. I mean, totally up. Have we destroyed a lot of things? Yeah, we've destroyed probably 95% of their capabilities, but they have these little speedboats to go out there and do things and do damage. And those are going to go away too. Believe me, when Trump is to the point now where he's like, okay, look, you made so many promises. You're trying to make a fool out of me. Well, I got news for you. I'm going to show you what a fool is, because you're going to be the fool. And Trump is not going to play around. He's just not. And God made Trump to do what he's doing. He's the 47th president, taking down 47 years of reign of this horrible, terrible terror.
Well, I agree too. You have to understand, people, that um, Iran has wanted a nuclear weapon not to be a competitor on the world stage like the other superpowers, but they want a nuclear weapon to usher in their Mahdi, their Messiah, where Isa, Jesus, their version, according to the Hadith, will come, and he will come alongside the Mahdi, their Messiah, and kill, quote unquote, kill the people of Saturday, then the people of Sunday, the Jews, and then the Christians. And of course, Taqiyya, you are permitted to lie. As a matter of fact, you're applauded to lie until you come from a place of strength, and that's part of the doctrine, Taqiyya. We saw it with Obama, the Muslim Brotherhood, when he gave $7 billion to the Arab minority in Egypt, betray the Egyptians. Egyptians are not Arabs. They hate the Arabs, and they're not the scorched earth. People don't understand that. When you go to the gas pump, um, I don't mind paying a little bit more for gas if I know someone's trying to avert a mad dog trying to literally destroy the earth for their religion, and that's what they believe in. And there's a lot of money in it. I mean, if you're of the left, you have funded Iran very well, and you've received a lot too. Those who supported Ukraine, most of that money did not go to Ukraine, went right back to the DNC. So we're playing with the enemy within, without. But you're right. There is a reason why God said, wipe them out, all of them, even their animals. And you can't reason with a demon. You can't reason with a mad dog. And that's what it is. I just can't help but think, what would it be like being the parent of a soldier that lost a leg or an arm in Iraq because of the Iranian sponsored improvised, roadside bombs? I just can't imagine what that would be like, and the level of depravity you have to be. But one thing is for sure, you can't trust the mainstream media. Most of America they're not, America's not 50-50 divided, in my opinion. It's the minority are holding the megaphone. Remember that Fox is owned by the same liberals that run CNN. They're all in it together. So I don't think the majority of Americans are for drag queen story hours with preschoolers and men and women's bathrooms. I think the minority has the microphone, and we just have to listen to the Lord instead of the media.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, well, one thing that's really been inspiring too lately, besides the media and what they're doing, because we know that whoever controls the media controls the masses, but not anymore. That's an old saying that I
Right.
believe is dying now, because people are awakening in this time of a new awakening, right? So we're in that time of a new awakening, and we're in the midst of the chaos and all of that, those things that usher in a new awakening. So I do believe that a lot of people understand that they have got to go to the Lord, they have got to be in prayer, and the Lord will guide and direct them to networks like these, right? Where you get the unfiltered news. We're not bought and paid for. We don't have scripts. We can just say whatever the Lord gives us to say, as we also research. And so one of the things that has been inspiring to see lately is the fact that we have the Bible being read, right, for 7 days straight. And President Trump himself said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and turn from the wicked ways, that I'll restore the land. And we know that is something that has been spoken prophetically for the past 5 years at least. We've all been praying for that, especially even since COVID. But to hear the president of the United States in the highest land in the world say it, whether you like his personality, whether you like his tweets or his posts, well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that the word of God is active and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, to the division of soul and spirit. And so when that word goes forth across the highest land in the highest nation of the world, there is power. And then the fact that the entire Bible is being read, that's an amazing thing happening right now. And I do believe that we will see the fruit of that.
Wow.
Amen.
Ivan.
I'm just, listen, I keep telling people he's not your preacher. He's not your pastor.
No.
He's your president. And what he's done is he has pulled this country together to do something that needs to be done. If you could actually see what really happens in the spirit world because of him being in the White House, it would blow your mind. Now, I will tell you that because of my experience of dying, being dead for about 3 hours, I spent time in hell, spent time in heaven. I see in the spirit. I see in the spirit better than you could ever imagine, probably better than my regular vision. And I see in the spirit all the time. I don't talk about most of it because I'm not supposed to. But God allows me to see things in the spirit. And what I'm watching, and I've already asked God if I could talk about it. But what I see in the spirit is the demonic is just foaming at the mouth because they're losing. And I'm repeating this. They're losing. Now, they want you to think they're winning. They want you to think they're getting ahead. They want you to think that they're actually bashing Trump and it's working. It's backfiring on them. It's backfiring on them big time because every time they start saying something or whatever, Trump proves them wrong without even doing anything. He just does because God gave him that ability to do it. It's not just Trump, but you look at the people he has, working with him. And then you look at Congress. I'm telling you right now, if you don't get out and vote, get off your lazy rear ends. And I said it, get off your lazy rear ends. I wanted to say something else, but we're on a nice thing here.
I'm with you.
But you need to get up off of that big thing that's behind you and get out there and vote, because if you don't do that, they're going to win because they're the big mouthpiece right now, which you actually should be the ones. You watching this right now, you should be the mouthpiece. You're
Right.
the ones that are supposed to be talking. It's not just for everybody else to do. You're supposed to too. But if we don't get out there and vote, what's going to happen is that they're going to put their people in the Senate and in the House, and then they're going to try to run Trump out of town one way, shape, or form or another, or cancel out everything that he's doing. And then we're not going to have the funding to fight wars. We're going to be just like we were with Biden in office, where we're the weakest nation out there.
Yeah. We were a joke. Yeah.
And we're going to be attacked majorly. And I mean this, if you don't do something, you watch China and Russia attack us. And I mean, on our mainland, it's that serious. This is a warning cry. It's very serious. You heard it here and you're going to hear it now first. This is a warning cry. If you don't get out and vote and get out and get other people to vote for the conservatives that are supposed to be in office, then you're bringing war on our country. Don't say a word once it happens to you.
And the pastors, amen. And the pastors, you're supposed to be watching on the wall. When Jesus said a city on a hill cannot be hidden, and he made reference to you don't put your lamp under a bowl. That was a boomdi. It had a little bowl that had a hole that the light would go directly up. It still provides softer light, but in a warning city, you would warn the surrounding cities from a hill with fire and with flags. And when there was one torch up, we're running smooth. When there's two, if it's a north wall, east wall, whatever, the enemy is in sight. When there's three, you better make your way here. When there's four, war has started. Well, we have enemies within. We have a duty to warn the people. It baffles the mind that we're not seeing pastors rise up and make sure their people are using their God-given rights to vote, because it's on you. And there is a penalty for the watchman on the wall. I planted 3 churches. I understand it takes a lot of money to maintain a church if you're going to do that. And I want all churches to do well. But let me tell you something. When the seeker-sensitive, Satan's Trojan horse, that seeker-sensitive movement that castrated the American church, if you don't mind me being so frank, the world didn't see any difference. And when 9/11 happened, they rushed into the church and they walked right back out because they didn't see a difference. They didn't see the light of the world. They saw people so desperate to be like them. Hey, see, we're cool. We have a rock concert. Hey, Skinny Jean big screen fog machine. We have a Starbucks. We have Disneyland. The world's like, ugh. At least Islam stands for something. At least they have rules and a code, and we know that the gospel has that as well, but not a lot of our churches. But I love pastors and churches, but pastors, this is on you. You're the watchman of the wall. If you don't sound the alarm, you will be held to account. And all that to say is we've got to do what we know to do. You are responsible for what you know. We need to get rid of the voting machines. There's no way to prove who won. And we're already set up for paper ballots already. It only takes 3 county commissioners or 1 judge and 2 county commissioners in every county to go to paper ballots, where there's not weeks to catch up, see how much we got to make up for in the middle of the night kind of garbage. Common sense. But we've been given a gift. If America falls, who's left? And so we have to be responsible for what we know, and we have to act on what we know. And so don't let the enemy discourage you. Well, my vote doesn't matter. Well, actually, your vote does matter more than they want you to know. Well, we have a majority in the House and Senate that can't even pass the bill. Well, that's a good point. But the other side can pass bills, bestiality bills, child predator bills, everything evil, everything Luciferian, everything contrary to humanity. And we know that the Prince of Darkness is the one who leads them. So do what you know to do and vote and watch and pray. With that said, Winston Churchill once said that during a time of war, truth must be guarded by a bodyguard of lies. We see all this distraction, sleight of hand, the UFOs, this, that, and the other, whatever. I never thought I'd see UFOs in mainstream news. Did you? I thought they were joking, but we know that they're headed for a global deception for that, looking at Project Bluebeam, if you will. But back to Iran. Hey, the best way to predict the future is look at the past. And you cannot reason with a rabid animal who is determined to destroy the world and those who are aligned to them. Do you think we're battling the children of the serpent literally here?
Yeah, I do. And I think one thing that is keeping Christians from voting and understanding the severity of where we're at is the fact that they seem to have forgotten that God can use unlikely people. So they're like, Trump's not perfect enough. He doesn't, he says the wrong things. He's too vulgar. And I get it. I mean, I get those things. Or he's using this person over here who, spent 7 years in prison or whatever it is. But if you read the word, just like Cyrus, God will use unlikely people. They're not perfect people, but he'll use them. He'll even use his enemy to speak his words because the devil works for him at the end of the day. Yeah. And so I think Christians need to get their sight off of, is this person worthy enough? Are they perfect enough? And just allow, the Lord to do what he's going to do. Get out there and vote for the side that stands against abortion, the side that stands for freedom of religion, so that Christians can worship. That's why that was created. Go and research what's on the ballots. Go and research who your candidates are and vote. That's why we say conservatives. That's why we vote for the conservatives, because you have your Democrats, you have your Republicans, in the middle you have your conservatives, and there's corruption on both sides. We get it, but we gotta vote and take a stand for the side that is going to most align with the Bible. And so I think people need to get out of that mindset. And then also I want to speak to Gen Z, and I want to say, you know what, you are needed in this time. I know the Lord's, there's a revival with Gen Z generation, and I've been seeing that in the revival meetings. Like you said, people are tired of regular church with the Disneyland and seeker friendly, and the meetings that we hold, we don't have any of that, and people don't want to leave. We're there for 12 hours. People don't want to leave. So, get into a spirit-filled place, come to the meetings that any of us are doing. Brant's with me a lot of times. Ivan does his podcast online too. Yeah. Get involved, get plugged in, get where the Spirit is moving so you can be encouraged, and stop going to these seeker-friendly churches where the Lord is actually demolishing these things and rebuilding the church, because, there's politics in the church. People are paid. They need their tithe. Well, you know what? I don't care about any of that. I'm going to speak what the Lord tells me to speak. So is Ivan, regardless of a tithe or anything like that. So we're not bought and paid for. And, the Lord is doing something amazing in this country if we'll partner with it. And one thing, I'm going to hand it over to Ivan, but one thing Obama is being exposed. He was a part of the election fraud, and that is coming forth. You will see that. I've seen a few things on it already. The Lord is not done with that, and He is not done with the Epstein files that people think. These things matter because a part of the children of Lucifer, like you said, we have children of God and we have children of the devil, and it's a very real thing. So we're in that place of division, because out of division can come the holy unity, because we have to have our eyes open. Things have to be exposed so we can see how bad it is, so that we can start standing for the right side. What do you think, Ivan?
I absolutely agree. Listen, there's so many things, and look, I'm not perfect. If you guys knew what I was like in my real life, everything about my life, everything I've done, I'm not perfect. God's called me to do something, because God takes the imperfect, because He's looking for people that are willing, and He'll make you what He needs to make you along the way. He'll help you become what you need to become, and you'll change different things in your life. Okay, so President Trump, did you know he was a Presbyterian, but he's not anymore? He is now
Wow.
a non-denominational person. He changed his affiliation to non-denom, and he did that. And I mean, there's things coming. There's things that are working. So
Wow.
if you start looking at them, there's some things happening. Um, for me personally, you know, as being a watchman on the wall, so to speak, my last name Tuttle. Okay, Tut Hills, what it used to be called. And over in England, the Tut Hills were the ones, they were the watchmen for the kingdom. They were up on a hill that was called the Tut Hill. And the British pronounced it, oh, there's Mr. Tut Hill, so that became Tuttle. And so they watch them up on the hill. So they're the watchmen. So I fall into that just with the namesake. And then if you take my first name, Ivan, and if you were to try to read it like they do in Israel, and you just read it backwards, you have Navi. So you have the Navi prophets, and so you got the prophet in there plus the watchman in there. So God already ordained what I was supposed to be when I was born.
I love it.
Right.
Well, I love who both of you are. And aren't you glad we don't have to be perfect, Samson had a hooker problem, but he did great exploits. God set him up to provoke war with the Philistines. Moses had a pride problem. He was a very successful general for Egypt before he took matters into his hands and kung fu that, Egyptian guy. Paul had a money problem and a woman problem. Hey, we don't have to go there right now, but you couldn't be a Pharisee unless you were married. Enough said. Peter had a cussing problem, you know. The list goes on. Abraham had a lying problem. You feel me? David, well, he had an affair with Bathsheba. Well, yeah, but that's not why he was judged. He was judged because he set up his best friend to die. He was guilty of murder indirectly, and that's why the sword didn't pass from his house. Solomon, he had some other problems too, and he had to come to the end of things. All is vanity. Obey God and keep his commands. So God makes a point in using the unlikely, and I'm glad that he uses us. But we're up. It's up to us. What can I do about Iran? Well, you can vote, you can pray, you can watch. And it's only by the grace of God that the sleeper cells have not been activated completely here in America. But are you ready for that? Do you know how to start a fire? Do you have any food? Oh, I'm just going to trust God. Well, you should trust God, but he trusts us to use our common sense. Are you prepared? Are you prepared for someone walking through your front door? I am. And, so all that to say is we've got to fight the battles spiritually and physically so our children don't have to. And all that to say, you two move in the prophetic very powerfully. Ivan was joking with me. I work in the prophetic and the pathetic sometimes. No,
It's the pathetic prophetic.
but well, hey, there's a lot of that going on
Joke.
too. I just heard about a false prophet telling this incredible man that his offering, he was angry that he didn't give him his first fruit offering, that he gave it to his church instead. And a church whose pastor is very outspoken about getting involved in leadership and voting. And he said, well, did he waive it? No. Well, then that didn't count. What a liar. That's a false prophet. And PROFIT, your gifts to God's work counts. And thank you for it. You know, when you go to ivantuttle.com and you get behind his work, his publishing, his events, his streaming, his teaching. Same thing with Cher with her events and Deliverance and her publishing as well. iwnks.com. You see it on the screen there. And then, hey, do something for me. Go to patriotsinAction.com, patriotsinAction.com, and you need to vote. You need to show up. You need to pray, and many of you need to run for leadership. I know you didn't plan on that, but if you don't, evil will. They're paid very well. Look at AOC. You know, the Young Democrats on Netflix several years ago had tryouts for an actress. She's an actress, folks. Do your research. She's a mega million-dollar actress. But if idiocy can make a lot of money and get involved in leadership and be surely you can, you know, for the right reasons. So God uses the imperfect. We're up. There's no excuses. We're responsible for what we know. I believe that Trump will bring resolution to Iran. We've been dealing with the same problem all these years. And again, when you're dealing with a rabid animal, they only understand. In this case, you're dealing with the left. The left thinks they're using the Muslims. The Muslims think they're using the left. You know, I have footage of a former jihadist saying Muslims, the left is stupid. They don't have any morals. So when they want to go have their parades and all this, go be busy with that. We'll throw you from roofs later. And the left is confused why they're not put into leadership once communism and or radical Islam takes over. It's because they don't have any morals. Everything vile, everything anti-God, anti-Christ, anti-family, anti-everything. They fear the conservatives when they vote because they do have morals based on the word of God. So any directives that we can give the people?
Hey, what you were just talking about, get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You got to be a mouthpiece. And I'll just say this the last time. We will see war on our mainland if you don't get out and vote.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now. Be warned.
Yeah, and I encourage people to get involved where the Lord would have you get involved, whether that be in the school board, going up against the school boards, which are being exposed right now in the school systems across, especially Texas here, several schools. Get involved in, you know, your local politics, get involved in the church, get involved in business, whatever the Lord's calling you to, get involved. Like quit doing nothing, like Ivan said, get up and get involved because the Lord's actually placing people where they need to be right now. And so just be encouraged. I don't care how big the fight is, how big the mountain is, how hard it seems like it is. That if you are uncomfortable because you're having to step into something new, then that means that the Lord is growing you into something, and that is how change comes. And there is great change coming to our nation, to us, if we'll actually step into those proper places. So do it. And I have your back. Reach out if you need encouragement. And I know Brant does too, and Ivan. So you have people behind you. As long as you're doing what the Lord's called you to do, you know, you cannot fail.
That's right. And you know what? There's no such thing as failure. There's just learning. I hope we don't learn the wrong way to lose a country. We need to learn how to stand our ground. And we want to bring a Watchers Live event to you as well. Message one of the platforms you're seeing this on, and we're going to go ahead and put that into place and do it. We look forward to seeing you and seeing many of you watchers getting activated in this hour. What a great watchers. We love you.